Morning, YouTubers. Having a little breakfast here. Some eggs, farm fresh, free ranged, on toast, and yeah. Um, so I'm gonna take my Tuesday's rant a little early today because it's on my mind, and so just I really need a camera that's right center of the screen. But I've been thinking about we have there's catastrophes all over the world. Right now, we're having them in the Louisiana area again with the flooding, and we have fires, California area. We have things going on, and when I talk about like last time or the time before about basic human rights, food, water, shelter, clothing, health care, education, and people say, well, that's nice. Yeah, what's it going to cost? Usually everyone says, what's it going to cost? But when there's a disaster, people think nothing about donating stuff, but they don't think about it the rest of the time of the year. And it's a funny thing about like Thanksgiving in the United States. People make a big whoop about Thanksgiving that everybody should have a turkey dinner, no matter how um, lost you are. And so the shelters will be flooded with turkeys and all the good stuff. Um, but the rest of the time of the year, or Christmas, and they'll have blankets and stuff like that, which is all great. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. It's just that what about the rest of the year? People go hungry every day in this country and in your country. So it's not so much unique. Everybody sees it. We do what we can do, but you know, it's an interesting thing because I think I've mentioned it before that a lot of farms, if they have a surplus that they can't sell, they usually turn it into compost, which, is a benefit to their farm. But it's a shame that there isn't a way of going and collecting surplus in a way that people, and then either, what would be a really cool thing to do? I don't know, maybe I could create it myself someday, is to create basically a kitchen that does canning, local canning. I mean, that would be a really cool thing, is just have a kitchen that will do canning, and would have all the equipment to preserve the crops, you know, can them in jars, which means you'd have to have a gazillion jars and have way of storing food through the winter. Um, Same way Del Monte does it, they do it in the kits and stuff, but it's got to be a way to preserve surplus food without having to compost it. There's certainly plenty of horse manure and chicken manure and so forth around to keep the farms growing year round, but we don't necessarily need to throw away all of our food that we just spent all summer growing just because the markets are full and nobody will buy them. Just saying, like that'd be a way to create that kind of image. And I was been thinking about um, who are you going to be, in this world, and how do you focus on it? And I take my own reflections. There's a lot of people that I consult with, or I consult for, or give them some spiritual guidance. And I was talking to this young lady over the weekend, and she's gotten into some trouble with the courts. That her boyfriend had a credit card and took her out to dinner and so forth. And I said to you, well, when did you ever see him with a credit card of his own? Why would you think that this would be different? That, well, maybe his boss thought, gee, you haven't taken your girlfriend out for a while. Why don't you just take my credit card and, go take her out on a good time because I owe you the money anyway. When do you see that? You know, if you're standing next to somebody who has a credit card that's not theirs or a check that's not theirs, or they just put something in their pocket in the grocery store, or they opened up a bag of marshmallows in the grocery store to have a marshmallow, and they think it's no big deal. They stick the marshmallow back on the shelf. I mean, who are you kidding? And then you're confused because you're in front of a judge and they're saying, you're an accomplice to this theft. And you're going, well, I don't get it. I wasn't the one who used the credit card. I wasn't the one who used the card or the check or stole the food or, I was the one. It wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. How often do you hear people say, it wasn't my fault? You know, it's a interesting, it's a curious thing. Somebody else was talking about something and they were thinking of doing something, and it was, it's all up to you. You have to decide what your energy around things are. Some things just happen. Sometimes you just find yourself in a situation that, just happens and you weren't really aware of it until it actually evolved. And a lot of times that's quite true. I try to have more patience in my life and see how things are going to develop out if there's time for that. And sometimes you just have to react or respond to the situation right then and there, and you're out of control of the whole thing, and you don't really realize what happened until it was all over. And that stuff happens a lot too. But sometimes it's better to be able to, I was remember a movie, what was the movie? We Are the Millers, and the guy tells Kenny to count to 10 before you hit somebody, and you know the fake mother there says, what are you talking about? Count to 10. Just hit him. Don't even think about it. Just hit him. Like, well, you count to 10 because you're giving yourself a chance to decide whether or not maybe not hitting him is a better way. But walk away. I try to tell my kids, just walk away. I said, well, I couldn't walk away. I had to hit him. I had to do this. I had to do that. No, you could have just walked away. Maybe you wouldn't have been the big man on campus if you walked away, but you wouldn't have engaged. I was in the country of Malta. It's a little tiny town. It's a little island in the middle of the Mediterranean, and there was this white supremacy dude with a Confederate flag. He had rented a pickup truck or Jeep or something, and he had this huge Confederate flag, and he was flying it all over the went. Came across our little crew of people of quite mixture of individuals, and he had all the Nazism stuff all over him and all that. He was there to pick a fight. He wanted to pick a fight with people about stuff. We had a German there, we had a Jewish person there, we had this, we had that. And I saw it all happening, and I just walked away, went and sat in the truck and waited for everyone just to catch up. I mean, and people say, well, why did you walk away? It's because I didn't want to engage into the thing. I saw it was coming. What was the point? What would be the point? Here you got this idiot that's from America that thinks that he's better than everybody else, and all that would have done is I would have had a visit to the local jail cell for the night. I'm not up for that. I haven't sat in a jail cell all my life. Maybe it's one of those things that I don't want to achieve in my life. I don't have to do everything. So, counting to 10. We've got this lady that's over in a neighboring town, the town I used to live in, and she had an issue with her job working for the town, and so they basically fired her without really just cause, and she's had this lawsuit, and this thing's been going on probably now for 4 years, and there are people, individuals in the town that will still throw eggs at her house, will damage her house, will damage her car, and they think that it's their job to do it. I mean, this is a a legal matter with the town, and for some reason, these people just seem to think that it's their job to do it. You know, why? What's the purpose? You know, when you hear people talking about doing stuff and you think it's kind of cute or funny, perhaps step back and say, well, what would you do that for? What would be accomplished? Why would you do that? I mean, what's the advantage of it? Yeah, there's a lot of things that are wrong with this country, with other countries, with the way we treat people all over the world. I mean, that's the thing to target. Why treat people that way? I have issues sometimes on YouTube here because, there's a couple of off-grid stores that I tend to frequent at. And, there are other people that are unhappy with the owners. They're not unhappy with Walmart, which is providing, you know, for the most part across the country, maybe other places in the world, substandard employment treatment. You know, they're known for being probably the worst corporate America company that poorly treats their employees. Do they protest them? Do they stand out there with a sign? Do they badger them? No, they go after little companies that are just trying to little companies that are, businesses in the, you know, they have a dispute, they got to deal with the dispute in the way that everybody else does it, instead of going after people like me that desire to shop there. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. They had an issue, they dealt with their issue, move on. But to continue to badger people that, shop there is ironically bizarre. They call them trolls. But you know how I feel about fairies. I don't like calling them trolls because I know some nice trolls. But, it's like I don't get why people act the way they do. I just don't get it. What's going to come out of it? All they're going to do is annoy people. Oh, I got freedom of the speech. I can say anything I want. Well, it's nice until you're offensive, and then, it's offensive. Why do people act the way they do? Food, shelter, water, healthcare, education. Healthcare, food, water, shelter, education, clothing. Simple. Those people that are flood victims and lost everything, just a change of clothes is a huge thing for them. It's a huge thing. There's no reason why people should be freezing, when it's cold. There's no reason why, people shouldn't have something. They're not designer stuff. Although, I go into Salvation Army store, and there's some pretty nice stuff in there that's been donated by companies. So it's not like it's unheard of for people to dress nice. They don't have to be in rags. It's just, it's just nice for people to have, some stuff. So that's my bling for the day. 13 minutes will take 2 hours to upload. Have a great Monday. Oh, by the way, it's 61 degrees here today. Yesterday at this time, it was 98 degrees. Yep, this is New England weather for you. Have a great day.